Hey there, Tad Hargrave from Marketing for Hippies, and I'm leading my Marketing for Hippies one-on-one workshop today in my living room. So this is what it looks like. Pretty cozy. And I wanted to talk about a very particular something. So before we broke for lunch, as we always do, talk about the 3 roles of marketing. You get their attention, you filter, you lower the risk. Those are the three roles. And in terms of filtering, there are 3 levels of filtering. One is relevance. You got to establish that this is a basic fit for them, credibility, that they trust you. But this is the piece I want to talk about here, value versus values. So there are 2 big cases that we have to make in marketing. One is the value proposition and the other is the values proposition. The value proposition is return on investment. I spend this much money and one second. Yeah, I spend X amount of money and I get X and Y in return. Yeah, spend $100 and that's what I get for it. That's the value proposition. The values proposition is the ethics. Is it biodynamic? Is it organic? Is it fair trade? Is it right wing, left wing? Is it vegan? All these things. These are all values. And all things being equal, of course, if the value proposition is the same, people will tend towards the values proposition that best represents them, whoever they feel most politically, ethically in line with. And so, but the value proposition is probably 90% of it. The values proposition is 10% of it. It's not as much. Most of it is the value proposition. Very little of it is the value proposition. And again, you might shop at a grocery store where you don't agree with the politics of the owner just because they're the only shop in town. But if another shop opened that was more aligned with your values, you would switch to it in a second, as long as the value is basically the same. And I see a lot of people overemphasizing the values and underemphasizing the value, which I think is backwards. I think that you have to be speaking to the value. That's most of the case that needs to be made is this will last, this will do the job, this will solve my problem, this will get me a result I want. That is really most of it. I think too little attention gets paid to that. And of course that gets down to niching because it can't be everything to everybody. So if you have a really clear niche and you have a really clear sense of here's if you make a product, this is the type of product I make and the style I make it in, then you're making the case for the quality of it, the longevity of it, the durability, the effectiveness of the product in doing what it's supposed to do. If it's a service, the value is, will it solve the problem? Take me off of island A, will deliver me to island B, where there's this result that I'm craving. That is where most of the marketing has to happen. That's most of the when we talk about value. And once that's established, once that's clear, or woven into that are your values as a entrepreneur and as a business. And also, sometimes people hide this and don't bring it forward enough to say, here's what matters to us. Here's what's important to us. Here's, I suppose that's the best way to say it. Here's what's most important to us as a business. We know what's most important to you as a client in terms of the value piece. And, there are these other things that are important about the way that we do it. How we go about it matters too. How we go about making the product or how we deliver the service, it has to have these values. Trauma informed would be an example of values. Consent would be a value, all of those types of things. But again, if you spend 90% of your time talking about the values and only 10% of the time talking about the value, I just predict people won't buy. If it's not really clear what the return on investment is. So that's my thought. This is something I used to talk about a lot more. I used to talk about it every workshop, and I haven't for a while. And then I just realized that's where it fit in the workshop. So it was pretty exciting. So again, welcome to my living room. Hopefully, maybe I'll see you here one day for one of my living room sessions workshops. Or if you join my mentorship program twice a year, this is where we gather for 3.5 days to really dig deep in a kind of hot seat style. There's no new content. We just dig into your issues and your problems. So Maybe I'll put the links to those both below. I'll probably be doing a living room sessions in the spring here, and at some point in early in the new year there'll be one for my mentorship program, then again in the fall. So that's all. Hope you're doing well. Take care.